The rain hammered against the windows of our small apartment in Seattle, mimicking the relentless storm brewing inside me. Alaric, a 44-year-old software engineer, stared blankly at the monitor, lines of code blurring through the haze of disbelief. Just a few weeks ago, life with my wife, Bronte, felt like a well-composed melody. Now it was a cacophony of lies and betrayal. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Bronte, a vibrant and passionate artist, had always been independent, but lately, her independence felt like a shield, a wall erected between us. The late nights at the studio became more frequent, the phone calls hushed and secretive. I initially dismissed it as stress related to her upcoming exhibition. Artists, I reasoned, were prone to bouts of intense focus. But the unease persisted, a nagging whisper in the back of my mind. One evening, while Bronte was supposedly at a gallery opening, I decided to surprise her with her favorite takeout from that cozy Thai place downtown. As I approached the gallery, I noticed it was unusually quiet. Peeking inside, I saw no sign of Bronte or any other attendees. A wave of cold dread washed over me. I called her phone, but it went straight to voicemail. Driven by a sense of foreboding, I decided to drive past her studio. The lights were on. I parked across the street, watching. After about half an hour, a figure emerged, silhouetted against the brightly lit doorway. It was Bronte, and she wasn't alone. A man followed close behind, his hand lingering on her back. I couldn't make out his face in the dim light, but the intimacy of their interaction was undeniable. They stood there for a moment, locked in what looked like a tender embrace before separating. Bronte got into her car and drove off, while the man walked in the opposite direction. I sat there paralyzed, the takeout growing cold on the passenger seat. The rain intensified, blurring the streetlights into distorted halos. My mind raced, trying to reconcile what I had just witnessed with the woman I thought I knew. Bronte, my Bronte, the woman I had shared my life with for the past 15 years, was cheating on me. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow, leaving me gasping for air. I drove home in a daze, the events of the evening replaying in my mind like a broken record. When Bronte finally arrived, she seemed perfectly normal, greeting me with a kiss and a casual inquiry about my day. I forced a smile, trying to mask the turmoil raging inside me. I couldn't confront her yet. I needed time to process, to gather my thoughts, to figure out what to do. Over the next few days, I became a detective in my own life. I checked Bronte's phone records, scrutinized her social media activity, and even followed her on a few occasions. The evidence mounted, painting a clear and damning picture of her affair. The man from the studio was named Lysander, a fellow artist she had met at a workshop a few months prior. Their messages were filled with flirtatious banter and veiled promises. They had been meeting in secret, sharing intimate moments under the guise of artistic collaboration. The more I uncovered, the more I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. How could she do this to me? Had our entire relationship been a lie? I had always been a devoted husband, supporting her dreams, celebrating her successes, and comforting her during her failures. I had sacrificed my own ambitions to ensure her happiness, and this was how she repaid me. With deceit and betrayal, the emotional toll was devastating. I lost my appetite, my sleep became fitful, and my work suffered. I was a shell of my former self, consumed by anger, sadness, and a profound sense of loss. I confided in my best friend, Griffin, a pragmatic and no-nonsense lawyer who had always been fiercely protective of me. "Alaric, you can't let her get away with this," Griffin said, his voice laced with indignation. "You need to confront her, expose her, and protect yourself. Don't let her take you for granted." With Griffin's encouragement, I decided to confront Bronte. I waited for her to come home from her studio, my heart pounding in my chest. When she walked through the door, I took a deep breath and steeled myself for the inevitable confrontation. "Bronte, we need to talk," I said, my voice trembling slightly. She looked at me, her eyes widening slightly. "What's wrong, Alaric? You look terrible." "I know about Lysander," I said, cutting to the chase. "I know about the affair." Her face paled and she stumbled backward as if I had physically struck her. "Alaric, I can explain." "Explain what?" I demanded, my voice rising. "Explain how you could betray me like this. Explain how you could lie to my face every day. Explain how you could risk everything we've built together for a fleeting moment of passion. She started to cry, her tears streaming down her face. It wasn't like that, Alaric. It just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far, it just happened. I scoffed. You didn't mean for it to go this far. Bronte, you were actively pursuing this affair. I have the messages, the phone records, everything. She sank to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. I'm so sorry, Alaric. I don't know what came over me. I still love you. Please forgive me. Her words felt hollow, meaningless. The trust was broken, shattered beyond repair. I couldn't forgive her, not after everything. I can't, Bronte, I said, my voice flat. I can't stay with someone who is capable of such deceit. The next few weeks were a blur of legal proceedings and emotional turmoil. Griffin helped me navigate the divorce process, ensuring that I was protected financially. Bronte initially tried to fight me, claiming that I was being unreasonable and vindictive. But the evidence was overwhelming and she eventually relented. As the divorce finalized, I felt a strange mix of emotions: relief, sadness, anger, and a lingering sense of emptiness. 15 years of my life had been irrevocably altered, and I was left to pick up the pieces and start anew. I decided to leave Seattle to escape the memories and the constant reminders of my failed marriage. I accepted a job offer in Austin, Texas, a city known for its vibrant tech scene and its independent spirit. I wanted a fresh start, a chance to reinvent myself. In Austin, I threw myself into my work, immersing myself in challenging projects and long hours. I made new friends, explored the city's eclectic music scene, and even started taking salsa dancing lessons. Slowly but surely, I began to heal. One evening, while attending a gallery opening, I met a woman named Isolde. She was a sculptor with a warm smile and a sharp wit. We struck up a conversation about art, and I found myself drawn to her intelligence and her passion. Over the next few months, Isolde and I grew closer. We shared our hopes, our dreams, and even our past heartbreaks. She was understanding and supportive, never judging me for my past experiences. With Isolde, I felt like I could be myself, without fear of betrayal or judgment. One night, as we were sitting on her porch, watching the stars, Isolde turned to me and said, "Alaric, I know you've been hurt in the past, but I want you to know that I would never do anything to betray your trust. I value honesty and integrity above all else." Her words resonated deeply within me. I looked into her eyes and I saw nothing but sincerity and love. For the first time since my divorce, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I could find happiness again. But the past has a way of resurfacing when you least expect it. One afternoon, while browsing social media, I stumbled upon a post featuring Bronte and Lysander. They were in Paris, posing in front of the Eiffel Tower, looking blissfully happy. The caption read, "Two artists in love, living our best lives in the city of lights." A wave of anger washed over me. How dare they flaunt their happiness in my face? How dare they act like they hadn't caused me so much pain? I wanted to lash out, to confront them, to ruin their perfect little world. But then I paused. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. What would that accomplish? Would it bring me any closer to healing? Would it change the past? The answer was no. I opened my eyes and looked at the picture again. This time I didn't see anger or resentment. I saw pity. Pity for Bronte, who had sacrificed her integrity for a fleeting moment of passion. Pity for Lysander, who had built his happiness on the ruins of another's marriage. And most importantly, pity for myself, for allowing their actions to control my emotions. I realized that I had a choice. I could continue to dwell on the past, to let their betrayal define me. Or I could move on, embrace the future, and find happiness on my own terms. I smiled, a genuine smile that reached my eyes. I deleted the post, unfollowed Bronte and Lysander, and turned off my phone. I walked back inside, where Isolde was waiting for me, her eyes filled with warmth and affection. I wrapped my arms around her and held her close. "I love you, Isolde," I said, my voice filled with sincerity. "I love you too, Alaric," she replied, her voice soft and gentle. In that moment, I knew that I had made the right choice. I had chosen to forgive, to move on, and to embrace the possibility of a brighter future. The past would always be a part of me, but it would no longer define me. I was Alaric, a survivor, a lover, and a man who had finally found peace. Years passed. Isolde and I built a beautiful life together. We traveled the world, supported each other's artistic endeavors, and created a home filled with love and laughter. I never heard from Bronte or Lysander again, and I didn't care. They had faded into the recesses of my memory, replaced by the warmth and joy of my present. One day, I received a letter from Griffin. He informed me that Lysander had been diagnosed with a rare and debilitating illness. Bronte had left him, unable to cope with the demands of his care. He was alone and destitute, his artistic career in ruins. I felt a pang of sympathy for Lysander, but I didn't dwell on it. He had made his choices, and he was now living with the consequences. As for Bronte, I hoped that she had learned from her mistakes and found some measure of peace. I crumpled the letter and tossed it into the fireplace. The flames consumed the paper, turning it into ash. As I watched the embers fade, I realized that I had finally let go of the past completely. I was free, truly free, to live my life to the fullest. I turned to Isolde, who was standing beside me, her hand resting gently on my arm. "What are you thinking about?" she asked, her eyes filled with concern. "I'm thinking about how lucky I am to have you," I said, my voice filled with gratitude. She smiled and leaned in to kiss me. "The feeling is mutual," she whispered. As we embraced, I knew that I had found my happy ending. It hadn't been easy, but I had emerged from the darkness stronger and more resilient than ever before. I had learned to forgive, to let go, and to embrace the possibility of love and happiness. And in the end, that was all that mattered. I am Alaric, and this is my story of betrayal, forgiveness, and ultimately, redemption.